Hello and welcome back to this video series. We're setting up Centrify MFA with Amazon AWS WorkSpaces. And in the previous video, we set up the group policies that will govern PKI trust. We also excluded the credential provider that is coming with WorkSpaces, and we launched a workspace. Now this workspace has been launched. If we verify an Active Directory that the computer object is there, right? Also, one of the things that we need to do is to register the workspace. So typically a user gets an email with a registration. You can also look at the console here if you need to see the registration. So it's my registration here. And this is the client for my Mac here, and I've already registered this. So I can continue to log in. And this is this workspace has been designated for Diana. So let's go ahead and log in as Diana. So immediately you will see right away one of the things that we modified the behavior. So most people are going to just save the credential here, typically a bad practice, right? Especially if you're using a shared machine or if you don't have assurance of who can actually log into the machine. I'm going to do that. But if the group policy kicks in as expected, my experience is going to be that I will see the Windows authentication login. This is not necessarily what happens by default. By default, you're just placed on the workspace automatically. So in this case, if all went well with the GPOs, my expectation is that we're going to have a slightly different behavior. Otherwise, we can just look at it and enforce it. All right, looks like in this case, my GPOs haven't kicked in yet. One of the things that I can do is move this machine to my workspace's OU, right? This is the OU that I bound in here. Ultimately, you could redirect this so automatically machines fall in the right OU as well. So let's go back to the workspace here. I'm going to allow communication with the network. And the first thing I need to do is to install the Centrify Agent. So we already have this on our connector machine. So I'm gonna just basically browse to it. This is also a good test to make sure that we have communication with our in terms of security groups and all the layout. All right, so it's prompting me to log in. And I should be able to access this. So when I go to Users, Administrator, and I think I actually have this on desktop here. So we're going to go to Bits, and here's our Centrify Agent installation. So we're going to go ahead and run that. So what could, if the group policies did not kick in, and let's just we could actually verify this. We could do an MMC. The first thing that could actually hit us is the PKI trust. So if the PKI trust is not in place, we're going to have an issue enrolling because the machine doesn't trust the Centrify instance. So we're going to just look at the certificates here at the computer account level. And we're going to look in here and see if we have trusted root. So here it is. So it is actually provisioned correctly. So we're actually good. So go ahead and do this. We're going to accept the agreement. And installation should complete soon. In this case, actually, you just cancel out of this. We should run this as an administrator, this setup. So we're going to right click, run as a different user, and we're going to run it as the domain administrator. Or as a user that has local administrator rights in this box. Right, once this setup is completed, it's going to run the configuration. And again, this is another sanity check here, because the machine is going to look to see if it can look at the SCP published for the connector, right? So if there's an issue with looking at the connector SCP, you won't see any services available for configuration. So here it is. We're going to do add service. Here we can see that we have the platform here. So let's take a look. It can pick up the tenant. And now we can define what are the accounts that are going to be prompted for multi-factor. Again, this can be set up by group policy. So from an enterprise perspective, you're covered. So I'm going to just do this for Diana. I'm going to press next. So this is enrolling now on the platform. One thing that also we should do is authorize the machine, because the machine needs to be authorized at that level. So I'm going to go ahead and authorize this system. So we're going to go to our tenant. And we don't want to SSO with this user. We want to log in with an administrator. So we're going to go to the role and authorize the machine. Otherwise, the machine won't be able to talk to the platform on behalf of the user. So we're going to, I think the machine, it starts with IP. Here it is. Okay, so the machine is authorized, and now we can actually proceed with a reboot. And so in the next video, we're going to reconnect, and we're going to start doing some of the testing to make sure the MFA is working as expected.